Is money really the problem or our relationship to it? Let's take a look at human behavior when it comes to money. That question alone already answers itself. We already know we have an unhealthy relationship to money. We'd be lying to ourselves if we said we didn't. Because then prove it. Would you go to work tomorrow and not accept a paycheck for anything that you've done? All right, then prove it. Do it. If you say that money is not the problem and you love what you do, then go to work tomorrow for the rest of your life and never accept it. Now, what happens when that's the case? You'll argue, well, I have to. I have to keep my home. I have to pay for this. I have to pay for that. Pay for this, this, and that. So you can't say that you're actually doing what you love doing for money. The things you want to do that you may be doing for free but require money. So money is not going away. Like that's the obvious thing. So what do we do with money while it's here? So money has created these, call them problems. They're not really problems when they're framed appropriately and looked at from the right perspective. So I'm looking at a list of words: poverty, homelessness, famine, hunger, same thing, war, pestilence, science, innovation, health. Those are all topics that in the human world, there's money around all of those categories, many more, but these are the ones that we all tend to care about the most. Homelessness being probably one of the most important ones that is on most of our minds because you want a home to go back to at the end of the day of doing whatever it is that you do. Nobody cares what you do, but you care because it's something that you enjoy doing. So how do you solve homelessness? Without money, easy. Stop taking people's homes away. With money, easy. Build somebody a house and stop taking it away from them. It sounds stupid, right? It's that easy. Famine, which is just described as starvation or hunger. We think we can all agree that perhaps we eat more than we should. So, do you know what true hunger is, where it originates from, where it comes from within the body that signals that feeling of hunger? Now, I won't go into the deep parts of what I know, but I would challenge you to find out what is really that hunger signal. Because you don't need 3 meals a day. You don't even need 1 meal a day. So if you're willing to skip 1 meal than what you normally eat today. So assume you eat once a day. You skip 1 day, you'll be fine. That much I promise you. And if you eat every other day, well, now you've just doubled the food supply by not eating that 1 day. So that should solve rising food prices, right? Easy solution. Will you do it? But I'm not trying to tell you what you should or should not eat. I'm just pointing out an obvious solution. So, what is the real problem under hunger? It's not food. But let's move on. Let's look at war. War is often described as, a conflict between nations, between people, whatever. It can even be a mental conflict, right? The root of the word is confusion. To be confused about something. It's really just division, not understanding both sides. Understanding is the resolution to war. Understand both sides. It's not against one, it's not for one. It's just, it is what it is. As children, we're told when you have a conflict, go resolve it. Well, why should war's resolution with another nation be to go fight for something that it's not even your conflict? You see people traveling, sharing their videos, and interacting with all sorts of nations. And you look at the people that they're interacting with, and they're good people. They just want to have a good time. They just want to live. So why are we fighting each other? Whose problem is it really? Is it ours or somebody else's problem that we're just blindly accepting and going off into war and killing and bombing, destroying countries and the land for what? When war, if you play this out from a conquest standpoint, all nations go under one flag. No more land to conquer. We're all one people. Now what becomes our real problem? How do we live with each other? So it has nothing to do with one nation existing versus another one thinking they shouldn't exist, any of that stuff. There's a confusion that you have. There's a misunderstanding of what's actually happening that happens in your mind, that happens externally. So the answer is not to fight each other. The answer is to understand the existence of each other and to be okay with it. And I know that goes deeper into some other issues, but like that's the start of it. That's where it all starts. It's not understanding. Pestilence, this is derived around, health, a plague, an annoyance, unhealthy condition, disease. That word disease has a root that that word itself answers the problem around pestilence, dis-ease. That's where it came from. I'm not making it up. So dis-ease of what? It's usually the mind. But extracting that goes deep, and I'm not trying to go deep with anyone on this stuff. This is just, it's truth. That's how deep it goes and how it manifests into the world as, a medical condition. So what this here is going to teach you is how to be more resilient. The health that we all have. Where not understanding how to handle some of the load that's put on our bodies. In the mental strain, the stress. Stress is like one of the major symptoms or causes of a disease that you read about. Doctors ask you all the time, is there stress? What do you say? No, everything's fine. They know that's not true, but they allow you to lie because they have more patients to go see. So it's not that they don't care about you. It's just that if you're not willing to be truthful, how can they help you? When it comes to that. So, a lot of our health problems, like money is not not a cause of it. It's only a cause when it becomes a strain on our mental psyche. So if you're worried about losing your home, worried about providing for your family, worried about this or that, and money is the cause, then yes, money is the problem that we have. And we have to look at what our relationship to money is to even make sure that that's not a problem. So even once you solve it, it doesn't solve all the other problems that money's gatekeeping. And poverty is one of those. Poverty is at its root, it's a feeling of destitution or wanting. You'll be told, our children will be told, well, if you want something, work for it. And that's true. I believe in hard work, perseverance, consistency, persistence to getting what you want. But some of the things that you see is contrary to the reality of it. So if I want to go into medical school to help people, but I can't even go into the education because I can't afford the tuition, then why do you want me to grind however many years it would take to even get in? And then now when I'm 60, 40, whatever, however long it takes, when you're also telling us that there's a shortage of doctors. So why are you gatekeeping ourselves from having more doctors available to help people? So you see how this spirals into things that don't make sense. So you tell your children to live your dream, but yet you have all seen stories, and like this is from experience from recent conversations. Somebody that child was trying to sell ribbons and was told they couldn't because they didn't have a license or whatever the case was. So, in one hand, live your dream. Child was trying to, but somebody stopped them from doing it. Or, hey, work for your entire life to open up a store and you're 60. So it takes you 60 years of living to be able to open up a store and live your dream. Now, don't get me wrong, there's, I'm sure, a lot of experience that came with that 60 years. But why should it take that long? Is that the poster child that we have for capitalism? Live your dream, but wait, go grind, and then you can have your dream. What is that? What message is that sending to our children? So you can see, hopefully, money isn't the problem. So money is not going away. Because if you want to evolve, evolution to me is being able to have more without losing anything. So money is a part of our system. If money goes away, how are the gamblers going to have fun, right? Or what are casinos going to do? It would essentially render it useless. Maybe, but it would just become a part of entertainment, as far as I'm concerned. So I know money is not the problem, and I think you do too. It's our relationship to it. So how do we move forward? Why am I even doing this video? Because I know things that will render a lot of jobs and roles, I can't say irrelevant because that's not even true either. Even in medicine, the things that I know about our body and how to understand it more so that there's less burden being put on ourselves. And mental burdens they're tough. They're tough on the body. They're tough on just our energy level. because most of us, I know, enjoy the work that we're doing to a point. Would you be doing it the same work today if it wasn't for money? That's a tough question. I know the things that I would be doing are still what I'm doing right now. At the end of the day, if I lose my home because I can't afford it, because, gosh, because I know by me going out and doing what I'm doing today for money, that's just perpetuating an issue that I know is not true. I can put myself out of a job, and to me, that is more worth that. So then I can move on to other things that I'm interested in learning more about, making things better. We're all solving the same problems in our different places of work. You look at some of the technology, the big technology companies. I'll pick on Amazon since I know they've taken off quite a bit. But if they've solved a problem, and this is what's great about open source. I come from a technology background. The problem's shared now. If it's part of an open source platform, the solution is shared. So, leveraging those things saves time. But then now what do? We want automation. So you look at AI. There's a big thing about AI being, what are we going to do with it? A lot of businesses are trying to understand how to incorporate it into their organization. A lot of people are like, what am I going to do if my job's replaced with AI? What are we going to do? We're moving ourselves into this direction of understanding what our relationship to money is, if you're paying attention. So I know I spiraled all over, and I can keep going, and that's the thing. But it's on all of these, I can go deeper into it. Look at the thing that I'm most passionate about is my writing. But it's not the writing that I'm passionate about. It's about understanding the true nature of things. And when you understand the true nature of yourself, now you can understand all things at a different level to see that they all operate fundamentally the same way. And so what I know about how I operate, how the body operates, it'll save you a lot of time and money when it comes to your health. But what will that do for the people in the healthcare? I'm not trying to replace them. There's still a need for physical medicine. Because look, accidents happen. They save lives. You can't discredit that. You can't take that away. There's the things that they can do to save lives. That matters. There's a lot of things that can be done to give them more time back. A lot of things that can be prevented. The prescriptions. I'm tired of seeing these ads on TV because of what they advertise. They're trying to sell you as a product, and look, they help when you don't know what to do. But you look at the side effects of the medicine, and sometimes, hey, I'll risk it, right? So there's a place for those as well, but you have to understand the consequences to even taking those. It's not solving anything. It's just creating a new problem for your body if you're not resolving what is actually going on that caused the symptom of the problem in the first place. And that's one of the hardest, most trickiest things about medicine is understanding where it originated from, what is causing it, why your body is not working. But the funny thing is no two bodies are the same. They're not processing things the same way, which is why you can even take a family DNA test and show precursors that, well, you could get cancer, but one does and one doesn't. Why? What's the difference between the lives of those two people that one of them will and one of them won't, or maybe neither of them will, but later down the line they do. So it's understanding those things and how to process your experience, your life, the energy, that's how your body functions essentially. And that's why it doesn't scale in education. Education pushes you all out the door with the same facts that you don't even know they're fully true or not anyways. But you're taught all these different variety of skills that they're teaching you a lot of the same things, but there's hidden meaning behind all of those even. So schooling and education is not inherently bad. It's just not scalable to teach everybody how their body works. But there is a fundamental principle to it all. So anyways, this video is much longer than I had anticipated, but at the end of the day, I know I'm tired of working for money, knowing that even the job I'm doing is truly not even needed. But look, I do it for money, for the house. It's really for the house, right? There's a lot more things I know, and I'm continuing to share. But this video here is just to take a breath, at least announce that, look, I hear you. I hear the problems. I see them. Now, what are we going to do? So, I don't know. I know what I'm going to do, and I know that's all that matters. When it comes to money and, withholding's the biggest culprit to it. Wealth isn't, an accumulation of something. I mean, if you want to be wealthy in something, even religious texts of all kind tell you the same thing: be wealthy in wisdom, but not just things that we whisper to each other and tell each other, but don't do it. Wisdom is only wisdom until it's living. That's when you get the benefit of that. So, hey, wealthy there. My house is one thing. Look, take it away, but that's your choice. We do those things to ourselves rather than try to see, well, how can we help? My monthly expenses, for example, and I'm by no means asking you to do anything. It's just when you look at the numbers, you see how ridiculous it sounds when that load is distributed across everybody. My monthly expense is $3,000. I live in a community of 166,000. A state of, I don't even know the population of this state, but nationwide, and last I looked, a nation of 350 million people. If they say 50% are working, 150 million people. So locally, my monthly expenses are 3 cents per person. I say, well, that's kind of ridiculous when you think about that. And one small change we can do as a community, not to just pay each other's expenses, but the work that we do, much like ourselves. So even at a local level, our body, or even our community, if you will, we lose the value when we allow it to be taken from the outside. So what can a community do? Well, I know all the works that I do. I believe in a circulation of value. So with money is no good if it's sitting somewhere. Congratulations. You have $1 million sitting. You did it. Like what does that do? It doesn't do anything. So the value should circulate. I say should, but that's how it happens in nature. And I truly believe in following the systems of nature because nature knows how to balance things. It knows how to circulate things. And when things are circulating, things thrive. But there is still life where there's stagnation. Um, so it's just a matter of recognizing what you're looking at and what created it. Not to be afraid of it, but understand, where it came from. It's still living, and, right? But so, anyways, circulating value, all the works that I do, look, I know what you follow the principles around that. That's kind of what I'll be doing. It's so you take a look. I'm just pulling up some notes around. Well, how does nature distribute, its resources? It's 5% for source. And look, these numbers, they don't mean anything. It doesn't matter. It's, you as a source of value is, I don't know. Again, they're just numbers. But 5% source, 10%, let me see. 10% for regeneration, for yourself, for, just your own maintenance, system maintenance of keeping yourself going or whatever the larger system is. 15% for lineage, so take a look at a tree and, they're providing fruit or seed and whatever they're doing so that they can continue on to the next generation, so that they're stronger. And then, the rest of their contributions go to the commons, to the field, if you will. So follow the same process where, I don't know, it makes sense to me. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So all my works, that's what I follow, I believe in. So that's what I choose to do. I don't need to accumulate wealth, and anything that goes beyond what I need, I will distribute up. So you won't own. Again, I don't need much, but like at the end of the day, I'm also not gonna continue working to do something that I'm just not passionate about. I wake up every morning wanting to do this, to understand the body more and then understand, nature and how things work and all of that. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding. We just take a lot of that stuff for granted. It's just here. We just consume, and we move on. We don't even understand what we're doing to ourselves. And, which, I don't know, I'm not participating in that no more. And look, at the end of the day, like I said, money is not going away. So we'll let it play its course. But, again, at least I'm being honest, calling the things that I see and I know is true for all of us. So you're not going to not get anything from me. I'm still going to provide you everything that I know. And I hate doing videos because I feel more organic. The conversation, and you can kind of probably notice that even this feels a little bit better now that I've gotten past the beginning part. But I'm not going to apologize for anything I say. So what you do with anything that I do, what I find out, I'm just sharing my experience, what I learned, and I try to keep it as grounded and clean as possible. I'm not prescribing anything. I encourage you to find out. You have to find out. And that's what science means. Science is knowing. It's not knowledge. It doesn't become knowing until you do it. So I can tell you all of these things, but you won't know it until it happens, until you do it and you see. So that's why, like, I'm going to eat my own dog food on this stuff. So I believe in it. And it's not just belief either. There's an order, truth. There's a higher truth to all things. decide on that, and look, you just keep going deeper. It's truth is like a slow release capsule, if you will. So if the further you are away from it, just continue to go towards it, and then once you get there, you'll see a lot of things. So it supersedes any personal truths, um, all that stuff. So that's what I'm trying to do, trying to understand the true nature of things, taking in the feedback that I get from the outside world and then using it and putting it to the test to see what is possible. And that's like, I'm not going to kill myself trying to do things that I don't want to do for money anymore. That, look, at the end of the day, I know there's value in what I've provided so far. A lot of my stuff is free on Patreon. If you want a book, I mean, buy it. Like, you're still taking a tree and people's time to put it together, all that stuff. So, but all the money that goes from that is going back to the city, to the education systems, um, locally. Because I know once we get our local community strong into some models like that, like people can live their dreams easy. There's no problem. You shouldn't have to wait 60 years to open up a business, when it could cost us $1 to give somebody a chance, or if communities start buying back some properties, and offering services back to our citizens, rotating kitchens that, like, I want to be a full-time cook, but you got some good recipes that could sell, and you could rotate through a kitchen, and it's licensed, it's got all the equipment, but you don't have to exhaust however many years it takes to save for that. You can just go in and out. If it's stuff, look, somebody's always going to fill it because somebody loves cooking. And if there's one that wants to do it every single day, kudos to you. Meals are cheap, but yet we overcharge for things. All that just because we want money. Like, that's what I mean. Like, it doesn't make any sense. A lot of these foods, they're super cheap. They're flavorful. Gosh, I have so many recipes that I've collected that are from around the world recipes. So not that I went there, but they're claimed to be, right? But imagine that, truly just building the local economy that way. Just small behavior changes that we could do. Cooperatives. I always thought that those were the key to a sustainable community. They started out that way until they became largely, I don't know, just bought out by, not bought out, but we just moved away. We not evolved either. That's not even the right word. We just moved away from what a true cooperative is. We establish these things locally. We give local value and circulate our value locally. Like, just organically, it will give the city everything it needs. And we have everybody doing the jobs today, so there's no point that those would even have to stop. You could just make one small change. Insurance is a big area that, look, those industries were created because money was just sitting. Somebody wanted something to do with it. So then you start those industries just to suck money away because it's just sitting there. Which again, it's just circulating, it's creating jobs. But you start looking at them and it's like, well, holy crap, like, yeah, I'm not trying to take away anybody's job or role. I'm just trying to help us evolve, reinvigorate local economics. There's small things we can do, locally, using the same concepts, same jobs that we have today that can start reinvigorating some of this circulation of value. And I'm not asking people to relinquish their money. Like I said, there's policies. It can start with small change. How about that? And look, I'm not here to prescribe all of those that I think could work, but I know what I can do, and the value that I have, I can help advance a lot of understanding. I can help you with any of your relationship problems, relationship with anything. But but even by listening to me talk, I know you already know all the answers that you need to do. And that's why you don't even need what I have to offer at the end of the day. And all we want to do is live. When you boil everybody's essence down, you just want to live life, to be what that means. And again, if we're doing it right, we're not losing anything that we have. So that's the side I choose to be on. I'm not advocating the stripping away anything that we have today. If that happens, that was not the right choice. We should be able to have everything today. And yes, does that mean more free time for everybody? Yes. Why wouldn't we have it? So it's just a matter of getting to that point, that we have to start at least somewhere. So again, I know what I provide. The books that I have will walk you from my journey, which started from one book, one concept that is timeless. Know thyself. Even I believe that's free on Amazon, or it's globally distributed, so it's free wherever it's offered. But that's all it takes. And if you look at the spiral from there and where all the books went, like you go deep when you start knowing all these things, and it gets heartbreaking, but it gets better. I promise. But it solves a lot of problems. And it makes, there's things that you wouldn't even believe if I told you what it helps with. But use the wisdom that's out there. There's a truth to everything. Every single religion that exists, there's a truth behind all of those. I'm not advocating for any of those to go away. I love those. I love the variety of the people, but even those will point you to, well, you have to live them in order, and live it however you want, however you're happy with. It doesn't even matter as long as you're happy. But look at the things that are causing friction and unhappiness. Those are the things worth looking at, not religions. Religion's just a way of life. So protect that, but don't fight each other for it either, right? So how can you be inclusive of all those religions and share it? You see people all around the world that want to share their religion, and learning about each other's religions and where they came from, and the traditions that they have. Like, look, there's value in those. Share those. So, and don't tell anybody what's right or wrong about them. If you don't understand, what they're doing with them, you have no right to talk about those things. Or at least tell them that they're wrong. If they're not for you, they're not for you. Leave them alone. Anyways, so I'm going to stop here. I don't know. Again, I know where I'm going, so I just can't be afraid of saying some of the things that I see, and the advice that, people give in one breath but don't do in the other hand. Look, silence rots. So let's use our voice appropriately. This is to coordinate some conversations. And look, it starts local. Seriously, it seriously does. Do it locally, because that's where you are. That's where it matters. So help each other out. Like, let's start having some conversations and start giving each other some grace, some room for understanding. Like, if it serves you, sweet, then you can't go wrong. If it argues, leave it. Come back to it, though. Don't avoid it. It's not going away. Try to understand it. At the end of the day, in that space, that understanding, there's a solution for everybody. So that's what we need to have. And no blame, no judgment, all of those things. We're just here to live. Let's start living, allowing each other to live. We don't have to take anything away. If anything's lost, then it's either necessary or no longer needed, but there's always a place. There's a new role for you. There's new things you can do. You're more than just what you're doing today, and you know that. So let's keep that in our focus. All right, that's it. Later.